How you doing? So, is Absorbing Man going to be the best Mystic champion in the game? Is he going to take Diablo's title as the best Mystic champion in the game? Maybe. I definitely think he has the potential to be better than Doom when it comes to Absorbing Man. When it comes to Diablo, he is literally one synergy away from being broken. Like if he had 100% bleed resistance, he would literally break the game. I think that would be too overpowered. I would definitely would love Diablo just to have bleed immune because bleed resistance, as I mentioned in my Iceman video, it's gonna literally break the game when it comes to Diablo. If he was 100% bleed resistant. So let's talk about Absorbing Man. Can he take over Diablo as best being the best Mystic champion in the game? I think if you know how to use Absorbing Man, I could see it. But the thing about Absorbing Man, he's not as easy to use as Diablo. I literally could solo fights with one finger with Diablo, because he's that easy to use. And that's not the case for Absorbing Man. But I'm assuming if you do know how to use Absorbing Man, I could see him being better than Diablo for being the best Mystic champion in the game. The only problem I would say with this with Absorbing Man, there's already YouTubers, especially famous YouTubers like Legacy, that want to get Ice Absorbing Man nerfed. So really, like I was like, what the f, WTF? I mean, people spend money to buy this guy, and he wants him nerf. I mean, I didn't spend money on him, but I know there are people that did. And Legacy wants this guy nerf. Let's just see why makes him like possibly, if he doesn't get nerfed, be the best Mystic champion in the game. So let's look at why. So one thing about champions, let's look at his champion attributes first. So probability 4, that's really good. Damage 3.5. So his damage is still above average. But in the right matchup, I could see his damage way higher than 3.5 out of 5, especially if you know how to use him. His abuse is 2.5, like I mentioned, and he's not the easiest champion to use. But if you do have him with Max Sig, it's definitely going to be a little bit easier because you're going to be able to keep his reform for, as long as you need to, especially if you know how to use them. Utility 3.5 out of 5. That's pretty, above average. Defender strength is one of the toughest defenders in the game, but not the toughest, but one of the toughest defenders in the game. So what makes a champion good? So if you're new to MCOC, let's look at his basic stats and abilities, or his strength and weaknesses. Let's go. Strength and weaknesses. So if you're new to the game, or if you're not new to the game, you already know what makes a champion good. So number one thing I would probably say is immunities. So let's look at his immunities. Maybe not number one to you, but for me, it's like definitely one of the best things to have in the game is to have immunities. Depending on how you count, Absorbing Man has access up to 8 different immunities. He that 8, ocho in Spanish, to 8 different immunities, making him one of the few mystics able to take hazard shift and biohazard lanes. Moreover, intentionally triggering these immunities make him even stronger. So I don't know if that counts with, I think it does, with us having Immortal Abomination synergy will make him poison immune, but you do need to have a 6-star with Immortal Abomination. So adaptable, damage, and resistant. So let's look at it. Absorbing Man is the first champion ability to change the damage type of his basic attacks and his burst damage and resistance change to match. This allows him to tailor his abilities to perfectly answer many of the most dangerous opponents in the battle realm. So when I look at Absorbing Man, he is like literally like a mystic version of Scorpion. Like that's how they pretty much created Absorbing Man. So and Scorpion Man didn't get nerfed, you know. Scorpion didn't get nerfed, so maybe Absorbing Man won't get nerfed. I can't really tell who's better at this time. I think Absorbing Man does have a maybe a slight edge on Scorpion, but with Scorpion having that Venom synergy, I think Scorpion is slightly better with synergies. But without synergies, I can see Absorbing Man being better than Scorpion. But the thing is, with Scorpion, Why he didn't get nerfed is because his Venom synergy wasn't working in the first place. That's why they didn't nerf him. So now it's already like too late because they're gonna get a lot of like backlash from the community. So they end up not nerfing Scorpion. But Scorpion with Venom synergy, yay, literally game breaking, I would say, or close to it. So who knows if a Soaring Man's gonna get nerfed? So let's see. So immunities. Let's look at his immunities. Where is it at? I don't see it, but I will probably see it later. So Absorbing Man is the first champion with the ability to change the damage type, basic attack, and his burst damage and resistance change to match. This allows him to tailor his ability to perfectly answer many of the most dangerous opponents in the battle realm. So that's really a key thing. I read it again, but it's a really good thing about him. It's like I mentioned, he's kind of like a mystic version of Scorpion. Target buff control. Absorbing Man does not nullify or otherwise directly answer most buffs, but he almost completely negates several of the most dangerous varieties you can find on opponents by reducing their duration, allowing him mostly ignore them and then benefit from them. Expiration. This also means he dodges mechanics meant to punish or prevent nullification. Weakness. Upkeep. Most Absorbing Man's ability from being one of his omnimorphs, so he suffers when unable to keep them up special attacks to special attacks. This all means that nodes that interfere with his power gain can be a major problem. Direct damage. Absorbing Man has less health than most similar champions, relying most of his immunities resistance to stay healthy. Nodes or opponents that inflict duration, poison, or other kinds of direct damage cut him down quickly. So if you don't have, what do you call that, Immortal Malbination in your team, it's gonna be really bad against poison that inflict poison, as well as degeneration as well. Critical resistance. Absorbing and peaks damage output relies on landing critical hits. He has a tool to improve his critical rating, but the less he crits, the less effective he will be. So those are his weakness. Abilities. I'm not gonna read through everything, but one of the best things about him is he's a great counter for like the toughest cosmic champions in the game, mostly the new ones. I think without a doubt he's the best cosmic champion counter in the game. Absorbing Man is no stranger to brawling with beings of otherworldly resilience. He reduces the duration of his opponent's indestructible, immortality, unstoppable, and unblockable buffs by 90%. That's really great. Most of them are going to be cosmic champions, and there are also nodes that can afflict those situations. Well, you can just reduce pretty much instantly. So omnimorphs. So downside about Absorbing Man, there's so many things to read when it comes to this ability. So if you're new to the game, you're like, what is going on? You don't understand it. That's okay. I'm here to break it down for y'all. So let's see. Where's his immunities? Jesus Christ. There's like a book on him. This really shows you how different it is now when it comes to Euro champions. They literally write a book on this one champion comparing to like one paragraph or something. It's crazy. So let's see. So he's not easy to use, as I mentioned, so it does gonna take some time. So let's see. So he has this called Uru Rush, Black Uru, and you can activate this in like, what do you call this, in the beginning on his pre-fight ability. So he becomes immune to bleed, and not only that, he becomes immune to shock effects, and plus 8400 physical resistance. That is really strong. That's what will make him really durable, because as long if your opponent doesn't crit, which most of the time your opponent will not crit, and then they inflict physical damage, he's gonna reduce most of the damage. So basically, if the opponent doesn't crit and they inflict physical damage, they're not gonna do pretty much hardly any damage. It'll be like a fly hitting you or something. That's how sustainable this champion is. As I already mentioned, he's immune to bleed and shock, which is going to be great. And then when it comes to special 2, which you can also activate free fight. It should say somewhere here, but I can't find it. Special attack 2. On activation, enter magma form. So he has two forms. He has Uru form or black Uru form, and then he has magma forms. You should be able to activate it before to his pre-fight ability. But if you do use a special attack 1, you get that black Uru form, and then if you use the special attack 2, he transfers into what is called a magma form. So what happens when he's in magma form? He gains immunity to all incinerate, cold snap, and frostbite effects, and plus an 8400 energy resistance. So that's 7. With the Immortal Abomination synergy, that is up to 8. And not only that, he can choose whether he becomes 8 what do you call that, physical resistant energy damage or energy resistant damage. So this is really good. And then all attacks deal energy damage instead of physical. So if you need to deal energy damage against opponent, he can inflict energy damage instead of physical damage. If you need to inflict physical damage, you want to be in Uru form, black Uru form, which he will do the most damage. So also, as you can see here, plus 8400 energy resistance. So this is really great against champion that inflict shock on you. He's already immune to incinerate, cold snap, and frostbite, so that's not gonna do anything to him. But against shock, if wanted to inflict shock, he's gonna be able to reduce most of it. And with willpower, I think he could be healing from shock as well. So let's look at his synergy. I'm not gonna go through everything. It'll take me like reading a book or something. So let me look at this most important synergy. It's with as you can see, you need the 6-star with Immortal Abomination Immortal and Hulk Immortal. Absorbing Man gave immunity to poison effects. Not only that, Omnimorph forms last 3 seconds longer. So that's gonna help him counter a lot of poison nodes or poison champions. So let's look at his signature ability. Omnimorph forms last 40% longer. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have a max sig, it's gonna be a lot easier to keep him a certain form. It won't be as hard to use. But if you know how to play him really well, you can not easily, but you can pause his Omniform if you were able to intersect with light attacks and stuff like that. When Absorbing Man consumes Morph Chargers, he gains a non-stacking regeneration passive. That's also great to have him awaken, because that will make him really like a very sustainable champion over 12 seconds. As a defender, this effect also triggers whenever a Absorbing Man enters or refresh any form. Personal regeneration effects pause for 3 seconds when Absorbing Man is struck with true damage and are removed when the form is deactivated early. So there's so many good things about this champion, but you do need to know how to use them. So my last conclusion, what can I say about Absorbing Man? I think he has the potential to be the best Mystic champion in the game. I mean, he has up to 8 different immunities, and not only that, he can become over 8,000 energy resistant or over 8,000 physical resistant, whichever form you have, which is going to be a great counter, will make him sustainability. Not to mention, he has a regen when it comes to his signature ability, and in the right matchup, he can do some serious damage against Terrax, or as well as Annihilus. I think he's without a doubt the best cosmic counter in the game, and I can see him being the best Mystic champion in the game. What do you guys think of Absorbing Man? As long as he doesn't get nerfed, of course. I really think he has so much potential in the game because of his immunities and the fact that he can change his damage. Like, he can use energy damage or physical damage. He can also become really strong. High energy resistance or physical resistance will make him really sustainable champion. A lot of utilities, and in certain matches he can do a lot of damage. As I mentioned, I think the most important part, he's a really good counter for cosmic champions. Without a doubt, best cosmic counter in the game. He can reduce unblockable, immortality, unstoppable, indestructible, buff, he can reduce the duration by 90%. That is really powerful. Not only champions, but like certain nodes. So let's see. There it is. This is probably one of the best reasons. This what makes him going to be the best cosmic counter in the game without a doubt, especially the newer champions that are tough defenders. Absorbing Man is no stranger to brawling with beings of otherworldly resilience. He reduces the duration of his opponent's indestructible, immortality, unstoppable, and unblockable buffs by 90%. I'm assuming this will be including nodes. I'm not sure if it's including nodes, but if it is, this is gonna be really overpowered if this does include nodes as well, not just facing opponents. So what do you guys think about Absorbing Man? I think he's going to be really good. I could see him taking over Diablo as being the best Mystic champion in the game, but if only if you know how to use him, and which he does require a lot of skill to use. I feel like he is kind of like a Tigra with immunities, in my opinion. Thank you.